This could be your future, but it doesn't have to be. The general research question of our research is to what extent do structures and sediment type influence erosion and sedimentation. Plants are known to capture and trap sediments within coastal ecosystems. By employing their powers of protection, humans have been able to safely live in polders and dune landscapes for centuries. But how does this protection work? We're gonna answer this by looking at specific research questions. Specific research question 1. What is the effect of sediment type on erosion and sedimentation? Specific research question 2. What is the effect of structure type on erosion and sedimentation? Starting with a question about how siliconia plants can survive and adapt to extreme sedimentation events, we had to drastically change our research proposal, when the rest of our partner groups pivoted towards different sediment types as the main focus of the research. In this way, we came up with the idea for a flume.
The plan was to do a series of 24 tests, the work evenly divided among the group of 5. In the end, we did 2 experiments, each consisting of 12 runs with 4 variations within the span of 36 hours. One of the experiments focused on the effect of structure on erosion, testing 2 different structures matched with 2 different sediment types. The other experiments focused on sediment trapping caused by structures, testing 2 different structures matched with 2 different sediment types. Given the time to, we started working on our MacFloom. During its construction, we also took the time to measure reasonable structure densities in the slough, as well as going to get test sediment in the Mokbai. After a quick initiation and a few small tests, we started our experiments. A 250 milliliter dry sample was taken from the sediment used, both for the sand and the silt.
For the erosion experiment, we only used a wet weight of sediment. The sand was mixed with water in a consistent manner and deposited onto the structure. Mixing with water was not necessary for silt, as it already has a high water content. After the experiment, the structure was taken out to be weighed, then cleaned and weighed again. This way we know the amount of sediment trapped on the structure. Additionally, we rinsed out the trapping experiments and used the sieves to capture deposited sediment. We collected all these deposited particles in 12 independent sample flasks to analyze back in the lab. Back in the lab, we dried and weighed the samples we got from the trapping experiment, converted it into a fraction of the total added sediment and transformed our samples into findings. The erosion experiment had very clear results. By taking the average percentage of sediment trapped per variation, we made this graph. It shows that the least sediment is trapped by a sand-plant mix, while grass keeps significantly more. The difference is not quite as big when silt sediment is used, but silt sediment does seem to be more resistant against eroding forces overall. This could be explained by the higher erosion velocity of silt because of its cohesiveness, which lines up with the Yulstrom diagram.
To further analyze the results acquired from the experiment, an ANOVA test was performed. From the test results, we can interpret that both plant and sediment treatment have a significant effect on the percent of sediment kept, since their p-values are smaller than 0.05. As for the interaction between them, we can conclude that it is not significant and that they are independent of each other, since the p-value is larger than 0.05. For further analysis on which groups significantly differ from each other, a 2-key post-hoc test was performed for each factor. The test revealed that plant and grass have a significant difference since they have a different letter in the post-hoc test result, and that the same is true between silt and sand. Moving on to the sedimentation result analysis. Just like the erosion experiment, the sedimentation graph clearly shows a better trapping of silt sediment than sand sediment, with the difference between silt and structure being relatively small. However, almost no sand is kept with the plant and sand mix, meanwhile the grass-sand mix again traps a bit more sediment. For further analysis of the results, an ANOVA test was performed. The test result indicated that there was no significant effect of plant treatment on the percent of sedimentation, since its p-value was above 0.05. On the other hand, sediment treatment had a significant effect on the percent of sedimentation, since its p-value is smaller than 0.05. Meanwhile, the interaction between was again not significant, and again they are independent of each other, since the p-value is larger than 0.05. As for the significant difference between each group, the 2-key post-hoc tests indicated that plant and grass were not significantly different, having the same letter, while sand and silt have a significant difference since they have different letters.
Our research fills a knowledge gap because we are the first to research to what extent do structure and sediment type influence erosion and sedimentation, specifically in the slough. This is relevant because Texel is a small island which faces imminent danger from increasing sea levels and increasing erosion. Our experiment had a number of limitations, the first being the flume. It was manually operated, which automatically causes inconsistencies in the amount of power put into a wave motion. Another factor causing inconsistencies in our data were the base plates for the plants, and the third main limiting factor was the angle of the slope in the flume. Future research could focus more on specific species of plants and their sediment trapping capabilities to maximize sedimentation and reduce erosion. Our hypothesis was that the denser grasses would catch and hold sediment better than plants, irrelevant of the sediment type. After analyzing our data, we can conclude that in the way we conducted our research, it is the type of sediment that has an impact on whether there is a sediment buildup or erosion, rather than the vegetation density.
And we hope our research can help further expand nature-based solutions for the future.